Ugh. Hey people, it's DLF. Yep. This past, let's say, month and a half or so have been extremely fucking interesting. I was arrested on May 12th, 2013. That was one day before my birthday. I was arrested because Clinton Rocco Carr had me arrested for harassment, 2 counts of harassment, and an obscenity charge, and he has a restraining order on me now. By the way, I have a copy of the restraining order. It's right here. I think Clinton Rocco Carr has a same copy of this. Bring this up close so you kiddies can read it. I don't know if you can actually see it. Yeah, you can probably see it. Yeah. Yep. Come on. Yep. 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 That's an official restraining order. And yeah. So pretty much this is how it reads. It says, notice your failure to obey this order may subject you to mandatory arrest and criminal prosecution, which may result in your incarceration for up to 7 years for contempt of court. I think that contempt of court, I think that's like lying in court, I think. Anyway, this is big shit right here. Yeah, so pretty much he has this restraining order on me. It's a temporary restraining order. It is hereby ordered. Here we go. It is hereby ordered that the above named defendant, which is me, observe the following conditions of behavior. And it says, stay away from Clinton Rocco Carr, 366 Ontario Street, Buffalo, New York, and or from the home of Clinton Rocco Carr, which is 366 Ontario Street. School of Clinton Rocco Carr, which I don't even think he goes like any kind of school or anything, so I don't know. Business of Clinton Rocco Carr. Place of employment of Clinton Rocco Carr. And then other, and then it just says stay 100 feet away from Clinton Rocco Carr, which is a 1 block radius from 366 Ontario Street, Buffalo. Refrain from communication or any other contact by mail, telephone, email, voicemail, or any other electronic means, or any other means with Clinton Rocco Carr. Refrain from assault, stalking, harassment, aggravated harassment, menacing, reckless endangerment, strangulation, okay, criminal obstruction of breathing or circulation, okay, disorderly conduct, criminal mischief, Sexual abuse. So pretty much it says don't rape Clinton Rocco. Okay, whatever. Sexual misconduct, forcible touching, intimidation, threats, or any criminal offense or interference with the victim or victims of or designated witness to the alleged offense, and such members of the family or household of such victims or witnesses as shall be specifically named. Clinton Rocco Carr, and then has his address again. Refrain from intentionally injuring or killing without justification the following companion pets. Yeah, I'm not going to kill one of those stray cats around his house. Fuck that. Just whatever, you know. But of course it says killing without justification. So if I'm like 100 feet away from his place, if I'm more than 100 feet, more than 1 block radius from his place, and one of his stray cats decides to like go nuts 101 feet away from his place, goes nuts and like jumps on my face, knocks me to the ground, and claws the shit out of my fucking face, I could still kill it because that's killing with justification. I have to protect myself. So whatever, in that highly unlikely situation. Okay, surrender any and all handguns, pistols, revolvers, rifles, shotguns, and other firearms owned or possessed, including but not limited to any and all firearms. Okay, so that that BB gun, that BB pistol I had, when they arrested me, they didn't actually find that BB gun that I had. But when I got out of jail the next day, I actually took the BB gun and I threw it in the garbage. So yeah, go search for it in some fucking landfill. Okay. Okay. Where else is it? Specify other conditions the defendant must observe for the purpose of protection. No communication with Clinton Rocco Carr, including but not limited to phone, mail, or third parties. And that's just about it. That just has my signature and all that shit on it. So, okay. So pretty much I have this restraining order. When's it good till? It should say somewhere on here. Oh, it's good until December 17th, 2013. So I have to stay away from Clinton Rocco Carr until December 17th of 2013. Which actually means, which was actually specified by my lawyer. He said, like, I can't be going to his house, I can't be calling him or whatever, but it doesn't give Clinton Rocco Carr ultimate power to just call the police whenever he feels like it, whenever he gets bored or whatever. That's yeah, that's a no-no. He can't just say, "Oh, Mike's at my house, I have a restraining order," and I was like, all the way out in Clarence or some shit, you know. You can't do that. You can't really do that. But also, there's a thing too. My lawyer said this too. He can't call the cops on me if we happen to bump into each other. If we happen to bump into each other, like on the street or something. Sorry. My arm is like really itchy. I have some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of like contact dermatitis bullshit going on here. It's like itching like really bad. I got this cortisone cream or some shit, and it doesn't even help. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. My arm is like super fucking red, like right around here. See it? I don't know. It doesn't really help either that I was scratching it all day. But so, for example, let's say I'm at Burger King down the street from me, okay, at the corner on Hurdle and Delaware or whatever. I'm sitting there. I'm eating my food. And let's say Clinton Rocco car comes into that Burger King. He can't just call the police just to have me arrested. It's not illegal for, you know, it's not illegal for him to see me. What actually has to happen is, first of all, if he walks into the Burger King and I'm sitting there, I would have to like get up, take my food, and leave immediately. And I would have, I don't know, about a minute and a half to do so. And in the meantime, when that's happening, I can't like yell at him. I can't like make any weird faces at him or whatever. Yeah, so pretty much. Also, he can't just show up at my apartment door, knock on my door, and then just call the cops if I answer my own door. He can't do that. He can't do that. I mean, it kind of works both ways. Like I still have to like, you know, I still have to like live my life, you know. But so far, he hasn't done anything stupid like that. But you know. What are you going to do? So, anyway, what I'm trying to say now is there's nothing in this restraining order that says I can't make a video about this. Now, let me explain something. This is not contacting Clinton Rocco Carr. Okay? If he decides he wants to lurk on my YouTube account, that's on him. I'm not saying I'm not saying that he has to see this video. In fact, I can email people from that Relapse site. I can't go on Relapse and post on there, but I have certain people's email addresses that I know from that Relapse site. I have certain people's email addresses. I have a Juan Simmons guy. Which, by the way, why do you make fun of my accent? Juan Simmons has a stupid fucking like Midwest accent. Or if that's the same guy that's on his voicemail, because I know some people have, like, some people don't use their own voice on a voicemail, okay? But if that's his fucking voice, man, that Midwest accent, you know, he's like, to reach John Simmons, press something, whatever. It's like I'm leaving a voicemail on Richard Christie's fucking voicemail. Which I remember one time, John Simmons once said something about him being good friends with Richard Christie. you know, the death metal drummer. He was like in Death. He was like on the latest Death album, and he was on one of the what's that fucking band? Ice. He's on one of the Iced Earth CDs, and I think he does drumming for that band with the dogs, that Caninus or whatever. He does that. Charred Walls of the Damned. Anyway, it's like leaving a voicemail on Richard Christie's fucking thing, which I'm trying to figure out something, because I remember one time on Howard Stern. There's a whole big thing where Richard Christie talks about how back in Kansas he had this friend who used to hog tie him. He was some guy in the rodeo. I'm wondering if that guy was John Simmons. And this is the same guy. He was jerking off at his house or something in front of him. They would like jerk off together in front of him, or in front of each other, or whatever. I don't know. But let me get back to the point. This video is not contact. I'm not contacting Clinton Rocco Carr. In fact, he doesn't have to fucking look at it. He doesn't have, if you're gonna, he doesn't have to watch this, and there's nothing saying that he has to watch this, and I'm not gonna send it to him in like a Facebook thing. So it's not contact. This is just a video that I'm talking about right now. There's nothing that says on there that I cannot talk about him on Facebook either. I can still make as much comments as I want about it, about this situation. I can say his name until I'm blue in the face. He doesn't have to look at it, and as long as I'm not sending it to him, then I'm okay. Same with him. He can make a video like this too. Sit there and rant about me, how much of a Jaffa I am. By the way, it's not Jaffa, it's not Jofa. If you want to really say it right, it's Ofa. Okay? It's a Swedish company, and the J silent, so it's Ofa or Afa, whatever. I don't know. So if he wants to sit there and say this about me, he can make a video. I don't really fucking care. He can sit there and talk about it on his Facebook and shit. But I don't have to sit there and look at it. In fact, when I got home from jail, first thing I did was I went on my Facebook and I blocked him on Facebook. He's still blocked on Facebook. He doesn't need to see my shit. So let me get. So now that I got that out of the way, let me explain what happened here. and this is not like a video to like put Clinton Rocco Carr down or anything else. We're gonna stick to the fucking facts here, okay? Alright, here we go. And without going into a huge fucking debacle about, the relapse board and, getting banned from shows and everything. Look, I'm gonna try to cut to the chase. It's probably not gonna work, but I'm gonna try to cut to the chase here. Okay, back in I think, late March, okay, I found out that his funeral home was shut down. The cops came and gave him a ticket. They gave him a ticket for like noise and no license, business license or something. So when I found this out, you think I was happy? Of course I was fucking happy. Okay? I felt like he finally got karma from whatever, from what he did to me. I felt like from all those cyberbullying things he was saying, I felt like there was some kind of karma that was brought to him, you know? I was happy. Why the fuck am I supposed to be unhappy, you know, for that, you know? People expected me to, like, you know, have sympathy for this guy that, you know, pretty much ruined my chance with, like, going the shows, something that I actually enjoy doing. He ruined that. So anyway, this thing got shut down, and he wrote on oh man, he wrote on this blog that he has about how he's going to try to get proper licensing and all this other shit. He says he's going to try to market the funeral home as a community center. And when I seen that, I pretty much laughed for like 20 fucking minutes straight. You know, you can't just say, oh, this illegal venue that I'm running is now a fucking community center. First of all, you have to have like some kind of like activity schedule, you know, like some kind of milieu for this, for like a community center. You have to have like daily activities for the community. You can't just say, oh, it's a community center. You can't just say that. You can't just have, oh, this is a community center. Yeah, we have bands play here pretty loud, you know. Because pretty much, if that was going on, you know, that crack house down the street tried to do that. Tried to say it was a community center. Did it work? Probably not. So anyway, I'm like, well, reading this. I'm like, shut the fuck up. So anyway, I'm reading this bullshit, and I'm like, dude, what's gonna fucking happen if, you know, you're trying to bring people into the community? You know, that whole neighborhood is nothing but, that whole neighborhood is pretty much crackheads. There's some fucking projects across the street from there, and, you know, these kids want, like, a place they can go to, like, socialize and stay out of trouble with, like, gangs and shit, you know? So, you know, these are pretty young, these are like teenage kids that Clinton Rocco Carr would be working with, you know, if this is a community center. And I'm thinking, what if one of these kids that hangs out there, what if one of them happens to have like some kind of autism or Asperger's or something like that? And I'm just thinking the disaster that would be. He's gonna go on his little relapse board, and he's gonna say, little Timmy over here is a little Jaffa, little Affer. What the fuck? I'm just gonna say Jaffa because that's what I call it. Fuck it. So So he's gonna go over to his relapse corner and say, look at this fucking job, but he's only 5'4". Shut the fuck up. I'm making a video here. Shut the fuck up. So he's gonna say, little Timmy over here is this fucking job is a fucking retard. Maybe we should fit him for a fucking Jaffa helmet or some shit. So I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, this is fucked up. He can't be running this community center, you know. There's too much fucking shit that can happen. So yeah, I emailed the councilman. I think his name was like Joseph Golemback or some shit. He didn't get back to me. But I just pretty much told what was going on. So anyway, so you fast forward, you end of fucking April 2013. Clinton Rocco Carr announces that he was going to have this big yard sale, okay, 2-day yard sale, and it was going to go, I think, from a Saturday to a Sunday or something. So I said, listen, I want to go to this thing, and I said, I would listen, I want to go, and I had about $300 on me that day. No, first of all, I told his friends that were running it with him, I told them, listen, I can't come on a Saturday, so I have to work at night on Saturday. So then I said, I'm going to come on Sunday. I can come on that Sunday at like 11, like around between 11:45 and like noon or something. Because I get out of work at 11 o'clock in the morning on that Sunday. So me and my driver went down there. Oh, by the way, his friends kept saying that, oh, if you come, we'll have some garlic bread for you. Yeah, we're cooking garlic bread. You're welcome to have a piece. So yeah, come down to this yard sale, blah, blah, blah. So the flyer for this yard sale, it says yard sale at his address and everything. And it says that there's going to be a lot of shit that's going to be sold there. Some of the shit that was supposed to be sold there, records, t-shirts, posters. Then there's something on there that says random treasures. And okay, so I had about like $300 on me. And me and my driver that drives me on Sundays, we go down to this thing. Now, mind you, my driver is kind of like a macho guy, kind of. He was like in the army for like, I don't know, 15 years or some shit. He's been in like 3 different wars or something. He's kind of like old school shit, like, you know, he settles things with like, you know, he's like, if somebody fucks with you, they just need a good ass beat. That's his whole thing, you know. And I told him on the way there, I was like, listen, you're driving me, I want you to take me here, and I was like, you know, I don't want you acting all fucking macho like you say you always do. Just you know, just be cool, okay? Because Clinton Rocco Carr is not going to sit there and assault me because, you know, he's trying to get a business license here. He can't be fucking stupid while the city's looking at him, you know. So my driver's like, okay, yeah. He's like, my driver's like, yeah, I'm just gonna check this thing out with YouTube. I want to see what he's selling. And pretty much I wanted to see what he was selling too, and you know, I wanted my fucking garlic bread too. And I wanted to see what kind of records he had. And if there was not too much manga on the shirts, I'd probably buy a shirt too. So we get to the yard sale, we park around the corner. That day I had a shirt, like a black shirt on, and had like a pocket like up here. It was like a shirt pocket. So I had my cell phone, which is black. And I had my cell phone in my top pocket like this, but like the part was sticking out where you can, you know, where the thing is that the lens. Well, the lens was sticking out of that my pocket, so I put my cell phone in there, turned on the camera, the video part, and I walked up to Clint Rocco Carr, I walked up to him, and here's what I see. I seen about 5 little girls standing around. One of them was sitting at a table selling lemonade and cupcakes, I think it was. I know there's lemonade, but I think it was like cupcakes or cookies or some shit like that. There was 5 little girls. Then there's this guy cooking on a grill with long hair. I didn't even see his face, so I don't know who he was. There's some big fat woman there, and Clint Rocco Carr standing there counting money. He had a big roll of fucking money and counting it. So I walk up to him, and I go up to him and I said, "What are we selling here?" He looks up, he's like, "Hey, hold on a minute." And he puts the money away, because I think he might have thought I was going to like snatch it from him or something. Then he puts the money away real quick, and he's like, "I don't have anything to sell. Now keep walking." So then I was about to walk away, and this fat woman was like right in front of me. So I couldn't get past the fat woman, and he was like walking towards me, and like the only way I could like keep walking was if I go into the street and then go like around this car or something. Yeah, so he pretty much, I almost like fell off the curb because he was trying to walk at me, and I was backing up, you know, so he kept saying, "Keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking." And I ended up getting past this fat woman in front of me, and we were walking towards the car. You know, I was leaving because, you know, he wanted me to leave, so I left. I mean, what am I going to do, you know? And then, well, we were like halfway, like past, we were like near like the corner of his house. Because like the house is like here, and then it's like this big fucking parking lot, and then another house in the corner of the street. I don't know. It's a weird setup they have there. So we're at the corner. We're almost at the corner, like at his house, of the corner of his house or whatever, where the parking lot starts. And we were walking towards there, and he was like, "You want me to call cops right now?" "Well, my landlord is here. I'll call fucking cops." And I'm like, "Whatever." And I was like, "Who's your landlord?" And he pointed at some guy that was in a pickup truck or something. And I was like, "Who's the landlord?" And so we just started walking. And then he sees my driver, and he starts insulting my driver as we were walking like away back to his car. And my driver, he said something like, you need to leave too, because you're not welcome here. I don't know you, but you're not allowed here either," or some shit like that. And you know, the whole time my driver like didn't even say a word to him or whatever, and he's sitting there insulting him. And this guy was in like 3 different wars. He can like kill someone with like his bare hands or something. And so he starts insulting my driver. So my driver looks back at him and says, "You better shut your fucking mouth." And Clinton Rocco Carr said something like, he's like, "I don't know what you're saying," or something. And he says, "You better hear what I'm fucking saying. I'll come over there right now and I'll knock you on your fucking ass. I don't care who the fuck you think you are. I'll come over and drop kick you like a fucking football." And Clinton Rocco Carr was walking towards us while my driver was saying this. And when he said that, he pretty much stopped, turned around, and walked back to where the girl was selling cupcakes and lemonade and shit. And it was funny. It was funny. I mean, I admit, because we were going there and we were saying, "Fuck it, we're just gonna see what he's selling," And somehow I was harassing him at the yard sale. Okay. First of all, let's break this down. He knew about that. He knew that I was saying I was coming to the yard sale. He knew about this, like, maybe like 2 days in advance or something. He knew I was coming. Okay? He did nothing to say that I couldn't come. In fact, his friends were encouraging me to come, and they said they'd give me garlic bread. Okay? So, his friends are inviting me over to this yard sale. Clinton Rocco Carr is not saying a word about me not being able to come. Because listen, if he were to get on that Facebook thing and say, "Mike, you're not allowed here. I don't want you at my yard sale," what do you think would happen? I'd probably not even show up, So then I think it was like 2 weeks later. By the way, I put the video that I made. I videotaped everything that went on at the yard sale, and I put it on YouTube right there. But I did that because I wanted to do it. I wanted some evidence just in case Clinton Rocco Carr decided to assault me. I didn't want him to punch me, but I wanted if he was gonna want to fight me. If he wanted to fight me, oh shit. If he wanted to fight me at his yard sale, I wanted proof that he was doing that. That he took the first swing or whatever. That's why I videotaped it. And that's also why I videotaped that first time I went there. Where I went there like at night. It was more like it was like 5:30 at night. But it was like in February, so like everything gets dark at like 3 o'clock in the evening, I was videotaping it just in case, he opens up the door and punches me out. I wanted proof for that. I didn't go to his house the first time. I didn't go to his house to fight him. All I wanted to do was I wanted him to answer the door, and I wanted to talk to him. I wasn't even gonna fight him. In fact, if he wanted to punch me, I wouldn't even fight back. It would be just straight to the police with the video. That's all I was gonna do. And same thing with the yard sale thing too. But yeah. So anyway, he had advanced knowledge that I was coming there. Okay. He had advanced knowledge that I was going to come there, and he didn't say I shouldn't be there. So you know, what are you gonna do, you know? He didn't say anything like, oh, you should be here, or whatever. He was saying all that shit about, like, also, you know what? He was also complaining that I was calling him. Well, first of all, I have proof, documented proof, that he gave me his phone number, and he never actually said, stop calling me. There's nowhere on that relapse board or any kind of message or any kind of phone call back that says, stop calling me. He gave me his phone number. He gave me his phone number consciously. And never actually said, stop calling. So, yeah. So, anyway, fast forward to, fast forward to like May 11th, okay? Say it was May 11th, okay? It was a Saturday morning. I received 2 pictures into my Facebook account from somebody. There was a picture that there was a picture of, it was a gay porno picture. It was a guy fucking another dude up the ass, and somebody photoshopped Clint Rocco Carr's face onto the guy that was getting ass raped. I got that picture, and then I got another one of a guy sucking another guy's cock, and the guy getting sucked off. There was a Clinton Rocco Carr's face was on the guy getting sucked off. So I thought those were funny pictures. Like, ooh, that's funny. And so I took the pictures. I sent them to Clinton Rocco Carr. I sent it to his. I sent it to him in a what do you call it? Facebook message. Okay, not like on his wall, but like just, you know, like through chat or something, Facebook chat. So I don't know. So anyway, I go to work the next day on Sunday morning. Oh, excuse me. I go to work on Sunday morning. I work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 a.m., okay? 3 hours, okay. So, I get home, and I got home at like 11 o'clock, or not 11 o'clock, I got home maybe like 11:45, because, you know, I just don't teleport from Clarence to fucking North Buffalo. So, anyway, I got home at like 11:45, and, I made myself some mac and cheese when I got home. Ate some mac and cheese, and I went and I took a nap. I think it was like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I get woken up by loud banging on the door. And I was like naked when they showed up. It was the police, by the way. The police were knocking at my door. They were banging on the door. And so that woke me up. I was naked. Okay. And I yelled through the door. I was like, who is it? And they said, oh, it's the police. So I was naked. Okay. Because when I'm, you know, and when I'm just around my apartment and shit, I walk around naked. Okay, so I'm naked. The police are outside my door. And I said, just hold on a second, okay? They said, okay. So I'm trying to get some, trying to get some like clothes on and shit. I open up the door, let them in. there's a male officer and a female officer at my door. They come in, and I said, "What's the problem?" They said, Have you been harassing a guy?" And I said, "No." And I'm like, "You're like, who is this Clinton Rocco Carr person?" And I said, he used to run a venue and got shut down, and like, so you know him. I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You're harassing him?" I said, "I don't know. It's a mutual thing and everything else." And they said, "Well, listen, he just made a police report against you, and he wants you to get a restraining order on you." And I said, "Okay, let him." And they're like, "Well, in order for him to get the restraining order, we have to put you under arrest." So they put me in handcuffs and all this other shit. By the way, handcuffs are fucking painful. I never realized it, but handcuffs are fucking painful as shit. I mean, they put the cuffs on me, and it's like, why the fuck do you have to put them on so fucking tight like that, you know? Why the fuck do you have to put them on so fucking tight? You know, when they took off the cuffs at the police station, they finally took them off. My hands were like swollen. My wrists were swollen from this shit, and I had like, ow. But they put them on like so fucking tight. It doesn't even make sense, you know. I wasn't gonna like fight the police or anything. I'm not that fucking stupid, you know. But I don't know. But anyway, they put the handcuffs on me, and then the female officer sees my cat, and she's like, "Oh, cute cat," and everything. I said, "Oh, before we leave, can one of you go feed my cat the water in her dish?" And they're like, "Okay, fine. We'll go feed your cat real quick and put water in her dish, because you're gonna be in jail overnight. You're gonna be in jail overnight, and then you'll see the judge in the morning." And then you'll be able to get out, and you'll be back to your apartment right after a judge. And I said, "Okay, fine. No one has to know about this. I'll be in and out, see the judge, be in and out, be at my apartment after a judge." Okay, cool. So the male cop, while the female cop's watering and feeding the cat, the male cop is looking around a little bit. He doesn't go through shit, but I had the machete out, and they found the machete. He's like, "What do you use this for?" I said something like, "Well, what do you use the machete for?" And I told him straight out. I was like, "Listen, I use that machete for personal protection. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I could have lied and say, I use it to cut down jungle bush or something. I use it to cut vines in fucking Africa, you know. I'm not going to lie." And I said, I use that for protection, you know. And he's like, "Okay, we're just going to throw this machete on your bed. It'll be there when you get back." And he's like, "Where's your wallet?" And I said, "It's up on top of the mantle. Mantle, behind me here. It's up on my mantle." Okay, I get my wallet. What else? And he said, "Where's your keys?" "They're on the mantle too." "Oh, officer, before you take the keys, there's something we should take off of that." And he's like, "What's this?" He found my pepper spray. I said, "It's pepper spray." And he says, "Oh, we'll just throw this on your bed too. We'll take your keys, but we'll throw the pepper spray on your bed." And they said, "Okay." They didn't find the BB gun because the BB gun was I think the BB gun was in a drawer or something. But you know, when I got home and everything, I ended up throwing that out. So that's long gone. That's somewhere in a fucking landfill now. So anyway, I get to so they put me in the police car, and it was funny. They go to Spot Coffee. I was on Hurdle Avenue. They go into the Spot Coffee. They both get out of the car and go into Spot Coffee and get drinks. They left the fucking suspect, me, in a fucking cop car. How fucking dumb are these cops? You know, while they were in there, I could have just, you know, somehow got out of the cop car and ran away. You know, I would have been running down the street with fucking cops on, but you know, I could have gotten away. But you know, anyway. So anyway, they took me down to police station on Bailey Avenue, and for some reason they said get out of the car. Okay, so we get out of the car. It was like I got out of the one cop car and right into another one where the female police officer was driving it. It was just a female police officer. It was really weird. I don't know why they couldn't just take me down to downtown, right from my apartment. But somehow they thought they had to transfer me to another car. I don't know. But anyway, they took me down to Central Booking. They fingerprinted me, mugshotted me, and everything else. They put me in a cell. They made me take the shoelaces out of my shoes, and they took my belt from me. Yeah, it's pretty much so I don't hang myself there, I guess. So anyway, I get to Central Booking. They do all that. Then they put me in a cell by myself. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get through the night, you know. I had to sleep on this fucking hard ass bench thing, you know. It was like this, you know. It wasn't comfortable, but you know what? I'm gonna be out of this thing in the morning after the judge, and that's it. So, anyway, I couldn't sleep that night because the thing was so fucking uncomfortable. And there was this one guy in there. There was just one guy in, I think they call it city booking. Or city lockup, that's what they call it. There's this one idiot in there. Making him, like, all through the night, he was yelling at this other guy in a cell. In a different cell. This guy with dreadlocks. Yelling at him. He's like, he was just saying stupid shit like, "Yo, nigga, you know who I am. I'm Mike Thunderberg," and all this other shit. And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Don't what me, nigga. You know, I did the whole New York State tour. I've been to Attica. I've been to Rwanda. I've been Wendy, I've been to Rikers fucking Island. I did the whole New York State tour." And he's like, "Officer, give me the green light. I'll go hump the shit out of fucking Bob Marley." And he's like, "Look me up, officer. Mike fucking Thunderberg." So they're looking up this guy. I don't know. I think they looked him up and shit. And I don't know what they found, but he kept saying, "Give me the green light, officer. I'll hump the shit out of you." And I don't know. And the officer is like, "Shut the fuck up, or I will charge you with trying to incite a riot," or some shit. And this guy just said, okay, I'll stop. I don't know. And then the guy with the dreadlocks, he was like kind of like weird. He was like schizophrenic or something. But this guy with the dreadlocks, he was like having like full conversations with himself. He was like having like two-sided conversations with himself. Like he was he was talking to someone and then he would answer himself. Like he was talking to himself. He was like, let's say he was saying to himself, he's like, so what's your favorite movie? And then he'd fucking answer himself, like acting like someone else, you know? It was fucking weird, you know? And then this other guy had a seizure in the cell next to me. Somehow he had to like take some kind of pill every day, or else he'd have a seizure or something. And the cops didn't like believe him or something. So he ended up having a seizure. It was a real seizure too, I guess. I didn't actually see it, but you know, I heard him like hit the floor and shit. So anyway, next day comes, and I went to go see the judge. The judge tells me, you're being held on $3,500 bail. And they gave me a copy of that restraining order, which is right here. They gave me a copy of that. And you're being held on $3,500 bail. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm supposed to be released after that, after I see you. And they took me back in handcuffs, and they ended up shit, my fucking throat's all dry and shit. So anyway, they ended up taking me from city lockup to the Erie County Holding Center, which is pretty much like right around the corner. They took me there. I was in like a van, like a prison van or some shit. I was handcuffed to that fucking schizophrenic guy. I was like, I want to be, you know, I just want to be like, you know, I don't want to be like handcuffed to like anybody else, you know. So I'm just like, I just want to be cool here, you know. So I ended up getting into the Erie County Holding Center. And I'm in this big room with a bunch of, like, in this room with like 30 other guys. It was hot as fuck in there. They put me in like an orange jumpsuit and shit. And then they asked me all kinds of questions like, what's your date of birth and all this other basic shit. What's your religion and how tall are you and all that other shit. So anyway, I was in this huge room. I was in this, not huge, it was like a little room with 30 other guys. There was one toilet in the fucking corner that didn't work. And I said, listen people, I'm in here, I just don't want to be fucked with right now, okay? So I ended up making a phone call to my dad. I haven't talked to my dad in like 3 months because I stole from him, but I didn't actually steal. It was more like I took his money because I didn't like something he said, you know. I was like, I called him up, and of course, you know, when you call someone from that phone, you know, they have this recording that comes on before they actually talk, you know. That says, this call is from Michael Constantino, who is an inmate at Erie County Holding Center. I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, Dad, listen, something happened, and you think you could like try to do something about this? Like, can you try to help me out here? I know we haven't talked in like 3 months, but can you try to do something? He said, okay, we'll see what you have to do. So I was in that room again with those 30 guys. The whole place stunk. The whole place stunk. It just smelled like BO because of all these guys. I was in an orange fucking jumpsuit. And then what else? So we're in there. I had meatballs for dinner. Those meatballs didn't smell like meatballs. They had undercooked rice. You know, I don't know. I didn't really eat anything like that with those 2 days in there. So then they took all those guys that were in that room. They took them and they took us into what do you call it? They took us to our little holding dorm or something. It wasn't even cells. It was just like a big room. It was just a big room with a bunch of beds in it. And I guess that's where I would just stay, you know. And they said, Constantino, take your little box and put it near your bed. Okay, so I did that. I put the box down. It was like a box full of like linens, and I think there was like soap in there and toothpaste and other shit. So as soon as I put that box down, another officer came up and said, Constantino, get the fuck over here. I'm like, oh God, what's going on here? So I go up to the officer and I'm like, yes, officer. He's like, come with me. Somebody loves you. They bailed you out of jail. I was so fucking happy. And I was so fucking happy. I got all my clothes back. I took off the linens, or not the linens. I took off the orange jumpsuit. I put on my clothes, and I had to wait like about 20 minutes in another thing. But I was like in my regular clothes and everything. I was pretty much free. It was just that I had to wait for this lieutenant to come and sign papers first so I could be released. So, anyway, I get out of jail. I walk outside. I was in fresh air. Oh, God, fresh air. And I get out. I start walking towards the other place, because they had like all my other they had my shit in my belt, my shoelaces. They had them at the city lockup. So I was walking towards that way, and all of a sudden I hear, Mike, get over here. I'm looking around. It's my parents in their car, like outside. I didn't see their car, you know. So I go over there. I go over to their car, get in it, and they said, okay, what happened? I said, first, can you take me over to this address? It's right around the corner from here. And they said, what do we need to do that for? I said, I got my belt, my wallet, and all my shoelaces and stuff, my keys too. So they do that. They took me over there. I go in real fast. It was like a 2-minute job. Go in there, go upstairs, get my shit, come back down, get in the car. Well, here's the thing now. I get outside again. My parents have a certain type of car, okay? There's like a similar type car sitting there, and I thought that was actually their car at first. And I was trying to open up the car, and my mom says, Mike, over here. I said, oh shit. I was trying to get into someone else's car because it looked like the same car, you know, and I didn't really pay attention, you know. And I noticed there was also a cop at the corner too. So if the cop wanted to be a real dick, I could have gotten bailed out by my parents, and not 5 minutes later get rearrested for trying to break into a car on accident, which is pretty funny actually. So anyway, I get back in the car. I told my parents what happened, and we found out that I was being charged. Well, they found out the exact charges because my mom's cousin is a Buffalo cop, and we found out through him. He actually, somehow he knows that female cop that arrested me. By the way, those cops never even like read me my rights or anything. I'll get to that later, but so anyway, so like yeah. So you're being charged with 2 counts of harassment, and that's for like the phone calls and showing up at his house and everything. I guess they're charging you with 2 counts of harassment. The one they're both for they're both for showing up at his place. Okay, and 2 counts of harassment and an obscenity charge. And I'm like, what the fuck is this obscenity charge? What does that even mean? What does that mean? I swore at him? What is that, like a crime now? And they're like, no. The obscenity charge. Mike, did you send him any pictures with his head on gay porn? And I said, yeah. But I didn't make the pictures. They're like, well, that's the obscenity charge, I guess. So I got this obscenity charge. I'm like, okay, whatever. And they dropped me off. They dropped me off in my apartment, and I had a court date too. I got released I got arrested on Sunday. Released Monday night. I was released on my fucking birthday. Okay. I was arrested the day before my birthday, and I was released on my birthday. So my fucking birthday gift was a fucking bail bond. And my parents are like, listen, we just bailed you out, okay? You just paid the $3,500. What's going to happen is you go to your court dates. You go to your court dates, and we get that money back. That I guess what it is when you bail someone out, it's pretty much just collateral to make sure that you go back to your court dates and shit. And at the end of it all, you get it back. I guess you get like all the money back or some shit. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to this court dates. Okay, I'm just gonna go and do whatever. It doesn't matter if you're guilty or not guilty. All that matters is they want you to do the court dates. Okay. If you're guilty and you have to go to jail, my parents will get the money back. And if you're free, they still get the money back. And they tried to say like, we could have just we could have done one or two things. We could have just paid the $3,500, and but then you'll get it back. Then we'll get it back at the end. Or we could have gone through a bail bondsman who actually pays the bail, but you have to pay them 10% of it, which would be $350. We could have done that too, but we just paid the whole thing and we'll get that back, And I said, okay, whatever. I thanked them and everything else. So then, I was released Monday night or something, and I got a court date on that Friday, and so I went there, and it was me and my dad and my mom went, and my mom, my mom is fucking sneaky as shit, but I don't know. She does. She's reckless, but she does. What happened was we went to court, and she was banking on the fact that Clinton Rocco Carr does not know what she looks like. So Clinton Rocco Carr was coming up the escalator. He had to be at court too, I guess. He was coming up the escalator and shit. And I said, I was like awake at the other end of the lobby. And I told my mom, look, that's him. And she's like, okay. She actually goes like right near Clinton Rocco Carr and listens to him. He's over there talking to the attorney and shit, to his attorney, the district attorney, And she tells me that him and the district attorney was trying to tell Clinton Rocco Carr that the restraining order works both ways, I guess. I guess Clinton Rocco Carr was trying to go into this whole thing thinking, oh, I got this legal document that lets me do whatever I want to with it. And the district attorney said, no, you can't just do whatever you want because of it. So then we get into the courtroom, and my mom sits right next to fucking Clinton Rocco Carr in the courtroom. I'm like on the other side of it, of that, and I had the public defender, and they called me up and they explained what was going on there. And the public defender whispered to me in the courtroom, he said something like, the way he's making this sound seems very one-sided, but I'm thinking it's more of a mutual thing. Am I right? And I said, yeah, I have all kinds of evidence with me on a flash drive. Could I show that? And he said, no, don't show it now. Try to get with me sometime next week and bring all that evidence with you. We'll go over it. So anyway, we get out of court. My mom, back in the car, my mom says, I was sitting right next to him. You know what he was doing the whole time? And I said, what? She said, well, first of all, he was texting in court. I couldn't see what he was texting, but he was doing something with his phone in court, and he was sleeping in court. And I said, wow, really? So he can't even take this seriously. She's like, nope. So anyway, we get out. We had a court date again. It was for next month. It was it already happened. It was for June 17th, 2013. Monday I called my attorney, the public defender, and I tried to set something up with him, so I could come down there and I could present my evidence to him. So I did that. One day. I went down there and presented my evidence, and I was talking to him about what happened and everything. And my public defender guy says, listen, this 366 Ontario Street, does he own that place or does he rent it? And I'm thinking, I'm like, he said something about him renting it. He said, my landlord's right there, you know. And my public defender says, you know who the landlord is? I said, no, I don't. The lawyer said something like, you don't know who the landlord is, do you? I said, no. And my lawyer says, I think I know the landlord he says, I know the landlord that owns that place. His name is Brian Aquilina, and he's a barber. And I said, he says, does that name ring a bell? And I said, yeah, it does actually. I said, because I reverse searched his address once. I reverse searched 366 Ontario Street on White Pages once. And Brian Aquilina's name showed up instead of Clinton Rocco Carr's name. And for a while there, I thought the name Clinton, the name Clint Carr, I thought that was like an alias for Brian Aquilina. And he said, no, that's actually the landlord. I'm like, you know, I don't even care anymore. And I says, so what's his landlord like? And he says, well, he's a barber for one. And I know for a fact that he doesn't know beforehand that these shows were going on at the funeral home. He didn't know that he was using the place as a venue. And that he's not very happy with Clinton Rocco Carr right now because of this, you know. And I said, well, what landlord would? And he's like, so what kind of shows are these? And I said, they're like heavy metal, death metal, kind of shit, you know. And I guess my lawyer was in a band once, I guess, too. I'm not gonna say the name, but it was a pretty old band. I guess they used to play at the show place a lot. But I never even heard of them until he mentioned the name. You know? I never even heard of the band after he mentioned the name either. So I don't know if they were like any big, you know. So yeah. Anyway. Anyway, I was showing him all this evidence, and my lawyer says, listen, we're gonna, you know what we're doing, I'm gonna see if I can hire this private investigator guy, and we're gonna see if we can get this whole 185-page thread back from this relapse website. And we're going to see if we can, because he has access to a lot of like background check shit, you know. We're going to see anything we can find on this Clinton Rocco Carr character. I said, okay, we're going to do this, okay. And he said, let me just see if I can get the private eye guy first. You know, I'm pretty much guaranteed that I'll get him because I haven't requested him in a while. So, you know, there's only so much money in the budget. You know, if you don't use it, then we can probably get the private eye. So, okay. So a few days later, he emails me. He says, yeah, you can contact this guy at your mutual convenience and all. So I call him up. I call up the private eye guy. And I go to his office. I had my flash drive and shit with me. He makes a copy of the flash drive, and by the way, before I even get there, he has all kinds of shit that he found, like on Clinton Rocco Carr already. Well, first of all, I knew he lived in Ohio, and then he went to Buffalo, but I what I didn't know was that this guy found it, that he actually lived in Orlando, Florida as well. Clinton Rocco Carr lived in Orlando, Florida, and Ohio, and then Buffalo or some shit. So, I don't know if he was born in Orlando, but that would be pretty funny if, you know, Mickey Mouse had him delivered, you know. But yeah, so yeah, we found out like he has like 5 brothers and sisters or some shit, all back in Ohio. There's one guy. I think one of his brothers named Sid Carr, and his sister's name like Colette Carr or some shit. And I couldn't remember the other people's names. We found a picture of his old house in Ohio. Fucking wow. So we found a picture of his old house back in Ohio, and yeah, it's your typical redneck white trash, you know, shack. Yeah, I think the picture we found of his old house, I think it was yeah, I think there was a picture had a guy on the porch with a shotgun chewing a piece of wheat on the fucking porch. Yeah, that's. If you ever see like the Beverly Hillbillies, you know, like in the beginning of the Beverly Hillbillies, they show and all that shit, and then they get rich because they struck the oil or whatever, and then they live in this big mansion and shit. Well, if you ever see like them, like before they struck the gold and shit, yeah, that's what I would think. No, that's what that was reminding me of. Yeah. Some fucking shotgun shack, you know, he was living in. So anyway, you know, I'm like, dude, this is pretty bad. But all that said, I was kind of disappointed he didn't have any like criminal records anywhere. It would have been great if, you know, he had some kind of rape charge on him somewhere, or he was some kind of serial killer or something, or if he had some kind of ties to terrorism. That would have been great, but no kind of like criminal records or anything else. So anyway, the private eye makes a copy of the flash drive. My evidence. I had all kinds of evidence on there. I said, listen, me getting arrested was probably the best thing getting arrested was probably the best thing that can happen right now. Because you know why? I was trying to get a restraining order on Clinton Rocco Carr for the longest time. And they kept denying me for it. And now that I got arrested, this would actually force the authorities to look at the whole picture here. This would actually force them to sit down and look at every fucking thing that Clinton Rocco Carr has done to me. So I took this opportunity. I said, you're going to get me arrested. I'm going to try to bring down the entire fucking relapse board with you. So I was scouring that relapse board top to bottom. I found the old thread where they were taking pictures of me on the street. And on that thread where they were taking pictures of me on the street, Clinton Rocco Carr, Clinton Rocco Carr comments on that too. So there's evidence right there for that. Oh, I saved the interview where relapse assholes were calling Greg and Robin Ducko and harassing them at 3 in the morning. I saved that that video. The day after I got out of the day after I got out of jail, I received a message on Facebook from this guy named Sebastian Hawks or something like that. I received a message from him that says, "How was your birthday in jail?" I saved that, put it on my flash drive. I didn't respond to it, but yeah. While I was talking to the lawyer that one day, one of Clint Rocco Carr's friends tried to send me a friend request. This guy Robert Flagler or some shit, I don't know. But he didn't send me the friend request under his name. He sent me a friend request that said, with the name, "Can I borrow and then the last name Broom." That's like this big thing with this Robert Flagler character. He has this thing where he asks me, "Can I borrow a broom? I'll meet you at the Gap so we could shove tacos in our head," or some shit. Like he was sending me these really bizarre messages like that. I don't even know what they meant, but I saved those, put them on my flash drive. So then I saved all kinds of shit, like the Vinterview. What else? I saved some shit that showed that they were cyberbullying Justin Barger, who's actually the original Jaffa. See, I guess what it is this Justin Barger guy has Asperger's, and he used to post on Relapse a lot. And they ended up kicking him off because he had Asperger's and all that. And they called him Jaffa, which I guess what that is, it's the name of it's a brand of hockey helmet, and it's like a cheap brand too. And I guess they used it for like people that would have seizures and hit their head while they have a seizure or something. They hit their head and they'll protect their head or whatever. They use it like for like another term for a retard, Well, it's fucking stupid because Jaffa is actually Jaffa was actually bought out by Reebok, and then Reebok just phased out Jaffa. So they're using an antiquated term to describe another antiquated term, retard, retarded, whatever. The word retard doesn't exist anymore. It's not a real diagnosis anymore. No one's retarded anymore. It's always something else, It's always like, it's always like Down syndrome or Asperger's or autism and all that other shit. No one's retarded anymore. So anyway, I called Clinton Rocco Carr a nigger once, and that was on police report. Oh, I'll get to that police report in a second too. So that was on the police report. And I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with calling Clinton Rocco Carr a nigger? Okay. I'm not using it for a term for black people. The word nigger means an ignorant person of like any color, of any skin color. Clinton Rocco Carr is an ignorant person, anyone who uses an antiquated, derogatory term to describe another antiquated, derogatory term is ignorant, is a nigger. Plain and simple. So anyway, this police report that I seen that was private eye had on it, that's when I seen the police report. It was hilarious. It was funny as shit. They asked Clinton Rocco Carr if he was under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Why would they ask him that? It was like, and it just said no. Okay, that's not really that funny. But anyway, they were asking him, they said, how do you know Michael Constantino? And he's saying, I don't know him really, I just, you know, you just showed up one day and started harassing me out of the blue. Okay. And then they said, describe Michael Constantino. 6'2", 286 pounds. Olive skin. Motherfucker, do I look like I'm fucking 6'2"? Look. Can't really see my head now, but okay. I'm not fucking 6'2". Let's get that straight. Clinton Rocco Carr, I think, according to his OkCupid profile, is 5'10". That would make me taller than Clinton Rocco Carr if I was 6'2". In reality, I'm shorter than Clinton Rocco Carr. I'm fucking 5'9". Okay, I'm 5'9". Okay, I'm not no 6'2". I wish I was fucking 6'2". 286 pounds. I wish I was fucking 286 as well. Try 330. Well, technically, I thought at the time I was 330 pounds. But I recently went to the doctor and I found out I actually lost 34 pounds. So what is that? 296. I weigh 296 now. Okay, so okay, he's like a little bit in that range, but 286, really? Not a pound under, not a pound over. What? Olive skin. Do I look fucking Middle Eastern to you? Come on. I mean, I might have an Italian name and shit, but I'm not really Italian. I'm kind of like a mutt. I don't know what I am. I don't know. I think like my grandparents were like Irish or some shit. I think like somebody back in the day was Italian, had an Italian name and all that shit. But in reality, who cares? But olive skin, I'm fucking pale. Dude, if I knew that description was given when the cops showed up, I would have been like, do you see any 6'2" olive skinned people here? And they would have probably just laughed. Ow. He said I was questioning his sexuality. Let me explain something to you, to the viewers out there. When you take pictures of other men and their dicks hanging out and put them on a wall that's full of men exposing their penises on Polaroid pictures, you're gay. And whoever posed for those pictures is gay too. I don't have anything against gay people, but I'm sorry, that's gay. That's gay. And I've seen, there was some guy on Relapse, I can't remember what his actual screen name was on there, but there's some guy on there that says that Clinton Rocco Carr exposes himself to other men. When you're known for showing your dick to other men, and when you're known for photographing other men's dicks, you're gay. And whoever's involved in that is gay too. I mean, I'm sure this was a whole mutual thing going on. I'm sure he's not just sitting there exposing himself to like everybody, like random people or whatever. This was a mutual thing. I understand that, you know. But it's gay. There's no questioning it. It's gay. I don't question your sexuality. I question your species. Okay? So, saying that, no one questions sexuality. Now, let me ask something. If Clinton Rocco Carr, let's say Clinton Rocco Carr was in fact gay, okay, and you know, he said, "Oh, I'm gay," and all that other shit, okay. Well, let's say instead of having a wall of balls, he had a wall of tits, okay. There's nothing but like chicks that went to his shows and he photographed their tits and put them on the wall. But he's gay, okay? But I say, no, you're not gay, you're straight. Would I be questioning his sexuality there too? I mean, I'm sure I would be, but I'm sure he wouldn't complain about it. Ow. But just keep that in mind, okay? What else was on that report that was stupid? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. That was about it that he lied about. I'm not no 6'2". I'm not. I don't know how he knows that I'm 286 pounds, not a pound below or above. And he lied about me being olive skin. So, I don't know. This is all a weird thing. He lied to them, saying that I just showed up one day and started harassing him. That's a lie. And I explained the thing with the guitar too about how I won this guitar from a raffle. I was supposed to help this guy Tony Lorenzo out. He was shot in the back and he's paralyzed now. He's in a wheelchair. He probably won't walk for the rest of his life. So I won the guitar. I was supposed to help him or whatever. And I told my lawyer, I told my the private eye guy, I was like, they're saying I stole it because I didn't give it back. And I told him, I was like, I don't think I should have to give it back. You know, Adam Zach never gave back the Cannibal Corpse bass. He won that. He never gave it back. And then someone on Relapse said something like, well, you don't play guitar. He said something like, you don't play guitar. You don't even play guitar. Why do you need that guitar so bad? You don't even play guitar. I said, why the fuck does Adam Zach need the fucking bass? He doesn't play bass. You know? No, that's like kind of like, you know, that's just picking on me, you know? Why the fuck does Adam Zach need a bass? He doesn't play fucking bass. In that band he plays in, Pig Rectum, he doesn't play bass, he plays guitar. Okay? And yes, I do play guitar. I Shut the fuck up, phone. He doesn't play bass, he plays guitar. And I play guitar. And I play bass as well. So, and whatever happened, whatever, you know, what's wrong with just winning a collector's guitar? Just to win. You don't have to, like, play it. I never actually played that guitar. I just had it in a case. Well, Gravy. What do you want? Come here, Gravy. Come here. Here, you want some gravy? What? What? Gravy. Gravy, you want to be immortalized on the silver screen? Gravy, here. Come on. Hi. What? Gravy, you're going to be immortalized on the silver. Come on. Alright, so that was great. Anyway. So yeah, that's what's going on. So anyway, July 17th comes around. I get up on the Clint Rocco car didn't show up on July 17th. And I get up to the stand with my lawyer, and they acquitted me of all charges. First of all, we were able to prove that that calling him wasn't a big deal. It wasn't anything like harassment because he gave me his number consciously. He consciously gave me his number, so I could call. He knew what I was calling for, to do a Clinterview with him. He knew that, and he gave me his number. And he never told me. He never told me. To stop calling him. So, yeah, and I had proof of that. And, well, it's the other time with the yard sale. He knew beforehand I was going to be there on Sunday, but he knew a specific time I was going to be there between like 11:45 and noon or something. He had a specific time I was going to be there. He knew this for like 2 days ahead of time, and he never actually did anything. He didn't say, "Mike, just don't come." In fact, his friends were telling me I should come and have garlic bread or something. We proved that. The obscenity charge, that was a little tricky, but the way they got it down was they didn't think that, you know, Clint Rocco Carr was offended by that picture of the man, or the picture that was made of his face on gay porn. They didn't think he was offended by that because, you know, why would a guy that's known for showing his dick to other men, and why is a man that is known for taking photographs of other men's dicks and putting them up on a wall in public view, why would a stupid fake ass pic offend him so much? That was their argument for that. What else? You know, the first incident where I showed up to his house, you know, that was just, they didn't really do anything with that. They were just like, okay, we'll drop that. But I was acquitted of like all the charges though. But the thing is, he still has a restraining order, which isn't a big deal to me anyway. You know, I see him at Burger King. I have like a minute and a half to get a block from him. You know, he can't just show up in my door and then call the cops and then have me arrested on the spot like that. I don't have any like business being over in his neighborhood anyway, so that's not a big deal for me. What else? The only thing that I really have a big deal with is he says he has a job but I don't know where he works, and I don't, you know. What? The hell, Brady? Just pissed at me. I think she hit her tail on a on something and it like moved and sounded like a hissing. Hi, Brady. It wasn't like this. But anyway, that's what's going on. I was acquitted of all charges. I just have to stay away from Clint Rocco Carr. Not a big deal for me. You know, not once have I bumped into him in public. So I'm not really concerned about it, really. I'm just gonna like stay away from him. I'm not gonna email him. I'm not gonna send him any Facebook messages. I'm not gonna call him or anything else. This video is not contact because I'm not. This isn't trying to get in contact with him. And, you know, if he wants to lurk my YouTube, that's on him. If he wants to lurk my Facebook, that's on him. No one's telling him he has to watch this video. No one's telling him he has to watch my Twitter or my Facebook account. That right there, if he's saying that he's watching my Facebook and all that other stuff, that's him stalking me. That's him lurking on my Facebook account. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, that's the end of this video. I'm about to upload this to YouTube now. Alright, peace out. Bye.